Experienced CPAs tell us that being recognized by business owner clients primarily as a trusted advisor is one of the most profitable and satisfying of all client relationships. However, being recognized as a trusted advisor by the client requires a major shift in how the client perceives you and your services. It involves relating to the client in a very different way. And it starts with a choice to see yourself differently and truly owning your power as a trusted advisor. Once you begin to own your power, that difference causes clients, prospects, and centers of influence to see you as a trusted advisor who just happens to be a CPA. Compared with the typical perception of the stereotype CPA, accountant, bean counter, who is concerned with timely filing issues of tax returns, then every once in a while willing to stop work to answer a question or share advice. This is not just a play on words, but also a subtle and very important nuance in the successful client-advisor relationship. As profound as the need for outside advice and support is, few business owners obtain or even seek it. Sometimes they will seek you out for counsel, usually too late, if and when they are hurting as a result of a problem and readily see themselves in crisis. And clearly, no professional is in a better position to provide advisory support than the trusted CPA. Question? Do you believe that? Yet, rare is the CPA who knows how to initiate the kind of communication that will cause the client to enthusiastically engage you, to spend time with them as their trusted advisor, outside of and in addition to your value as their accountant. Let's look at the consequences that CPAs suffer as a result of not knowing how to relate to the client in a vulnerable and intimate way. Surveys tell us that of all clients who change professional accounting relationships, 3% physically move, 5% develop a relationship with another professional, 9% leave because of a lower fee, 14% are dissatisfied with the professional's work, and 68% leave because of a perception of indifference. So, when professionals lose a client, over 2/3 of the time, it is because the client perceived that they didn't care. The client felt no connection with their firm. The professional failed to keep in touch. They took the client for granted. It wasn't necessarily intentional, but the neglect of the relationship drove them away. The professional overestimated the importance of the perceived value of their technical skills and underestimated the value of relating to the client. We all need to remember that from the client's perspective, quality is not so much the absence of defects as defined by the CPA, but rather the presence of value as defined through the eyes of the client. So you ask, assuming that the above information is correct, what's involved in establishing a vulnerable, intimate relationship with a client as a trusted advisor? The simple answer is that you need to learn how to consciously connect with a client, prospect, staff person, partner, etc. through vulnerable personal interactions. For a client or prospect, FYI, it also works with any human, to see you as a potential advisor, they must be motivated by an emotional awareness of their problems and be willing to tell you about these problems and the distress they are causing in their life. As you learn how to communicate from a vulnerable place, you will cause the client to make the choice to share their pain and frustration with you. As they gradually share pain and frustration, they'll gradually impute authority to you that you can probably help them. To learn how to relate this way is the challenge. Are you willing to learn how to do it? Let us share with you the components. To relate is to connect. To do so with a person involves communication. When we are presented with the opportunity to connect with a person, we are faced with choices about what level of vulnerability we're willing to share. As we choose to be more and more vulnerable in our communication, we will begin to experience an intimacy and comfort level in the relationship. When we speak of levels, we're talking about progressive degrees of sharing more of the truth of who we are, and by the very act of doing so, extend an invitation to you to reciprocate in kind. Taking the risk of communicating at different levels involves choosing to be more vulnerable in what we share with you. When we make the choice to become more vulnerable, we are by definition choosing to make ourselves more open to censure or criticism, more assailable by way of the facts, opinions, and emotions we choose to share and the questions we choose to ask. When it comes to human relationships, being connected to another person in an intimate way is so very nourishing and is what we all deeply want. By definition, intimate means the deepest, most essential, innermost, very personal and private parts of oneself. To be known and accepted for who we really are in these very private places is a most satisfying experience. Engaging in a relationship with a trusted advisor is, by the very nature of the interactive dynamic of engagement, a constant invitation to the client to become intimate in disclosure to the advisor. Putting it another way, when a client takes off the wrap of who he is and who he isn't, progress can now be made. When the prospect or client shares his or her perceptions, doubts, fears, and concerns, then the advisor, along with knowing the facts of the client's circumstances, can really become effective at helping the client fix what doesn't work. Learning how to communicate vulnerably is the key to the door of an effective client-advisor relationship. In some ways, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. It's not so much that it takes incredible skill, as it does require a willingness to risk learning a different dimension of the forces of life. People want to be close to those who truly understand them. If you learn how to relate to clients this way, you will find such satisfaction in the relationship that to neglect it would cause you to lose emotional nourishment and high-level recognition, as well as the substantial dollars clients pay to advisors like this. The results speak for themselves. Clients are happy to pay much more for relationships that they perceive will create an impact on their income and quality of life. To succeed, you need only to have the intention of doing so.